Hello, Moses.
Hello, Paul.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, or for some of you, probably welcome. This is a special recording that we're doing of Prepare to Suffer with Paul and Mo.
Yep.
It is for the Well Played Journal special video edition. Well Played Let's Play. Well Played as Let's Play. Let's Play as Well Played. So you and I did kind of something in this vein not too long ago at the GLS conference. I guess that was actually over a year ago.
If not, I guess about a year.
Time gets to you.
Year and a half,
yeah, because we just had the final GLS conference this year.
Right.
And you and I did a presentation, live presentation of Well Played of this game at the previous GLS conference up here in Madison, Wisconsin, at Memorial Terrace. So, you know, we did a first draft of this. Submitted it for this special video issue, which I happen to be editing. And we got some reviews back.
Yeah, you filled me in on that a little bit.
Yeah. We were told that we probably shouldn't be drinking, and we'll probably want to talk about why we were in the first place. And we were told that maybe to tighten it up and be a little more focused. So I was like, let's do another one take. Let's tighten it up and be a little bit more focused.
Sure.
And maybe make a little bit more of the case of what's amazing about Dark Souls. Why do we consider this to be a game worth playing well? You know? So I guess, you know, we are here in medias res, as they say, in the middle of things.
Yes.
Do you want to give our viewing audience just a brief sense of the setting where we are now while I go kill a dude randomly?
Sure.
All right.
We are in Orlando, which is the shining city of the gods.
City of the gods!
Dark Souls. After much trial and tribulation, Moses has made it here. Basically, Moses is an undead. He can die, but always comes back until such time as he either succeeds or gives up. And one thing I like about it, the fiction at least, is the game allows for the player to sort of give up and it still be in fiction. Characters can go hollow.
Right, the concept of going hollow.
Yeah, which is basically where they lose their purpose, which usually is a singular purpose of some sort, and then kind of fall into almost like a state of torpor where they just don't get back up anymore.
Where they get stabbed through pillars every once in a while. You know, or like that every once in a while. So, you know, for those of you who have never played a From Software game, or specifically a so-called Souls game, these health potions are called Estus Flasks. Worth mentioning, I suppose. As you can see, it's a 3D action game, ostensibly. Is that maybe
action RPG?
And the RPG component of it being?
Well, all the stuff under the hood that we really aren't seeing right now, your stats and your spells and whatnot.
Right, spells reminds me, I am Pyromancer. Or as you've said in the past, you're a fucking Pyromancer.
Yes.
A theme that early on in my first playthrough came up as an example of not playing well.
Yeah, sort of sticking to your melee, which is not really the focus of your character. It's more of a secondary kind of focus. I think, well, it's something we fall into, especially with RPGs, is wanting to preserve resources.
That is. So that's kind of a balance in playing any RPG well, is using your consumables, but also saving them for when you need them, right?
Right. With Dark Souls, anytime you die or visit a bonfire, you have all of your magic and potions replenished.
Right, unlike other games where you might need to, say, go find mana potions or something like that, right?
Which is really nice, because the game is pretty difficult, and if you had to grind for potions or what have you, it would really bog things down.
Well, I mean, this is a bit of an aside, but the, fourth Souls game? Third Souls game? No, fourth Souls game was Bloodborne. And this is a point that you and I have discussed that actually is an inferiority of Bloodborne in a way compared to Dark Souls, right?
Yeah.
That you do have to grind for potions in that game, for healing potions, essentially.
Right.
And it's like the game is hard enough already, and the difficulty of these games is a huge part of their, you know, what the community esteems about them, certainly what I like about them. Difficult, but not impossible, right? In fact, Dark Souls 3, I've specifically heard it said that one of the cool things about Dark Souls 3 is that you don't necessarily need to be really good as a Twitch gamer. You don't necessarily need to be really fast. You can study and be persistent, and that that can be sufficient to get you through, especially if you choose the right character.
Right. Ooh.
All right.
Worked you over a little bit.
He did. He did.
So you died.
So, apart from broader background, an important thing about these games, I suppose, is that they have boss fights.
Yeah, sort of the centerpiece of the level, and I mean it's fairly standard for video games.
Absolutely.
But it just ties very well in with the difficulty and sort of the tension of the game. You know, it's a bit of a jog to get back to the boss fight that you're currently on.
Less so than some others, though.
Oh, for sure. Less so than even this one.
From other locations. And that's an interesting piece about the construction of this world, which maybe we can talk about more, which is that it's not completely linear. Like the world, not necessarily the game path.
Yeah. Yeah, it wraps around on itself in some pretty clever ways. And, you know, instead of, say, making you to the end of a level, and then from then on you start on the second stage of the game, you will open up a little doorway somewhere that you didn't know was there, or you were peering through, you know, unable to open it. And then you have a nice new little shortcut.
Yep, exactly. Exactly, and that's actually a consistent piece. Like, one of the beautiful little victories that you often experience in the Souls games is that point where you haven't even found the boss fight yet, but you have found a shortcut that, compared to the half-hour slog that it took you of fighting through these enemies, or eventually you start to learn with these games that once you start to get the lay of the land, a lot of the time you just want to run.
Yep.
And that sprinting through is, whoops, oh, you're still following me. That's funny.
Took his time, too.
He did. Oh, I really thought I was going to get a backstab in on him there. Might have been fun. So, yeah. I guess he's leaving.
Yep, he's like...
That works for me. He's out. See you later, dude. That's good. I want this view up here. So, we're looking down here, and you can see some mist down over there.
Yep. The old fog gate, as it's called. The boss lies beyond. The game actually uses that to kind of trick the player occasionally as well, where there'll be a fog gate with no boss beyond. So you might be running for your life or in uncharted territory, low on resources, and then you have to decide, is it worth pushing through this fog gate when it's likely to be a boss, but not guaranteed.
And a key piece there, you might be low on resources or have a lot of resources, and this is a really important mechanic of the game. A key piece there is that when you enter a boss fight, it's win or die. So it's not like you can run away like I just did from these guys and be like, hey, I'll see you later. Like, you're going to win or you're going to die. And the catch is that one of the most important resources in the game is what is known as souls. So,
yeah, they function both as your experience points and as your currency. If you die, your souls become bloodstain on the floor.
It's that green glowing thing that you might have seen before when I died.
You then have one chance to get back to your bloodstain and recover your souls. If you die before that, all those souls are gone forever.
And the other thing that you can potentially lose is humanity.
Humanity, if we ever look at Johnson's face here, we'll see that he's a horrible zombie-looking guy.
Do I have any humanity on me? Let's see.
I thought I saw one, yeah, in your quick bar.
Oh, in my quick bar, yeah. That would have been it. There we go. Toggle display. So humanity, a rare tiny black sprite found on corpses, used to gain 1 humanity and restore a large amount of HP. So, you know, Estus flasks, the healing potion, that's one way, normal way to get back HP. But in a bind, you can also drop a humanity to get a large amount of HP back.
Yep, and once you're human, it opens up the game to other players who are in their own games, who can then invade you, or you can invite them into your game to help as well. Yeah,
there we go. So you can see Johnson is not human right now. He's on his way to being hollowed.
Yep.
Unfortunate fate of the undead. So
nice to never die though. Get unlimited chances to complete here.
It's true. It's true. And again, another kind of elegant thing. This is a standard video game trope, and yet they found a way to make it meaningful within the narrative context.
Mm-hmm.
Both the fact that there are other players, and the fact that you can't die.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt.
Finally, there are these messages on the ground. And I could rate it if I want to. That's not how to rate it. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to rate it. But if I find a message useful, I can rate it. And most of these are left by other players.
Right. Yep. So.
Oh, really? You're gonna come up here?
I don't usually care for like standard online games, shooters, or anything like that. Usually, when I game, I like to play solo or more of a party game, like in the same room.
Yeah.
So this is a nice sort of blend of those two, I think. It doesn't force interaction
right
too often.
Oh, that's where that came from.
Yeah.
I was wondering who shot me, and I'm gonna die.
Yep.
I just had a feeling that roll was one roll too many. Rolling is something I fight in this game. It is my biggest ally and frequent cause of my death.
Yeah, you like the rolling. You've gotten it under wraps a bit.
A little bit, right? Compared to back in the day.
Yeah.
I will mention one of the reasons we're doing this is one take. Because one option, Paul and I have been doing this for a while. Too long. Probably.
Well,
who's counting? But one of the reasons that I want to do this as one take is because I don't have particularly strong video software editing skills. But the other is so that we can talk coherently as opposed to seaming together some of the bizarre moments, and yes, at times drunken moments, over the time that we've been doing this Let's Play.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we don't always play sober.
And I mean, that's I don't know if there's a lofty reason behind that. It's the two hobbies go hand in hand.
Drinking and playing video games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, I looked up because we call it drunk souls if drinking is happening, and I looked up online drunk souls, and in fact, somebody has gone ahead and made some rules for playing this game Hot Seat.
Okay.
That involves who has to drink and when, under what circumstances. Usually, the player does not actually drink; the person behind the controller, which really does make a certain amount of sense. But then everybody else has to drink when certain things take place. I was like, well, that's not our drunk souls. So it's not exactly a lofty reason, but I think it is part of what it means to us to play a game well, or to have a well-played experience is about enjoyment, right? It's like, it's a game, it's fun, it's playful. We're in Wisconsin, beer is a big thing out here. And I've gone ahead and jumped into this boss fight, so this is going to be interesting, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, here we have maybe the, I don't know, the pinnacle of difficulty in the game, you could argue. Certainly plenty more difficult things to come after Ornstein Smoke, assuming that we see them.
So this is probably an optimal moment to delve into the limited and bizarrely delivered kind of fiction of Dark Souls.
Yeah, the game has very little in the way of traditional storytelling, as you will right into.
And I have very little in the way of traditional strategy at the moment, currently. My strategy is to injure myself more, not a legitimate approach in this game.
So yeah, the game, we were discussing earlier, you can tell that it's the game that the developers wanted to make. Like,
sure.
Period.
Oh, God, I keep not having the right spell queued up, which is definitely not a way to play well.
I'm sure there were compromises, as there
are in every game development, right?
Yeah, any sort of collaboration.
That's what I'm trying to do.
But overall, like, there's a lot of elements in the game that you don't see in, the more mainstream titles. One of which being the story kind of taking place in the background,
right?
Or with item descriptions.
Not a lot of cutscenes in this game.
Yeah, and I, first time I played through, I had no idea what the overarching plot was, even really why I was doing what I was doing. I was just enjoying the game. And then over time,
I enjoy getting hit in the head with a large hammer.
Yeah, over time, I've delved into the lore a bit, and it's there if you want. The game is great on its own, but
so these two, for instance.
These two, you know, they don't have. I don't know. There's not much lore for Ornstein and Smoke.
One is a Dragon Slayer.
Dragon Slayer. The other is Executioner. The guy who is the Executioner.
You know, I just want to comment. A lot of the time, the big guy Smoke will soak up that lightning just like that from behind. So I kind of thought that was going to happen there. It didn't.
Two of Lord Gwyn's faithful knights.
And tell us a little bit about Lord Gwyn.
Well, he was the first guy to link the fire, basically tying his strength to basically the first fire in order to prolong his kingdom, and basically almost becoming a servant or a slave to it at that point. And you really don't see much of him in the game. There, you know, you may have an encounter with him down the line, but a lot of what...
Yeah, I at this point don't even know that he's necessarily alive as such.
Yeah.
It's kind of a mystery to me.
Yeah.
Although I did discover a golden doorway, which I'd never seen a golden fog before.
Right.
And I felt like maybe there was something important behind that, but obviously I couldn't pass through it yet.
Right.
So dying happens a lot in this game.
Yep.
One might almost say that dying is a theme of the Souls games. It's probably why people refer to them as being so difficult. Apart from the fact that, you know, I don't even know how many hours I am into this game. I can guess at most 2/3 of the way through, but that actually comes to another question. So, you know, I mentioned the dying thing only because part of playing the Souls games well is being comfortable with rinsing and repeating, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Trying to learn what you can from it, but yeah, kind of shaking yourself off and getting back in there. Always important. And yeah, the theme of death tying directly into the game itself. You know, the game, the story in the game basically allowing for your character to die over and over, instead of assuming, you know, like in a Mario game or something, that Mario just does it all without dying because it's not immortal. I don't think. I guess we're another
not
topic
as
for
far as
another
we
day,
know.
But
is Mario immortal? That'll be a different well played. Or maybe we'll just start a podcast called Is Mario Immortal? Although I thought our podcast was going to be called Luigi Does Not Have the Power to Pause. Bizarre inside joke, don't even ask. But it points to something else, actually, that I've drawn out before in discussing, that certainly we talked about at GLS. Bizarre inside jokes or otherwise. It comes to Bernard de Coven's The Well-Played Game, the Player's Philosophy, which is this idea of a play community. You and I have been doing this particular activity, but in some ways it's an extension of how we game more broadly. Wow, I like the way he's just kind of floating back there. Oh, yeah. Good lord, he was just waiting to do that.
what?
Nope, nope, nope! I'm gonna nope out of here and drink. You can't do that to me, you just can't. And Smoke, on the other hand, can do that. I just hate the way he trains in on you as he's running. It's really annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, this is as someone who's more experienced with the game and has beaten the game, this is still far from a guarantee when I face off against these two.
Yeah, and what I'm going to suggest when I die in just a moment, probably, hopefully not, is that you take a crack at it.
Sure.
For the audience's viewing pleasure. It's worth noting that virtually every boss fight in this game, as far as I know, has 2 phases. As far as I can remember. And I have made it to phase 2 of this fight. Now, this matters in the context of me asking Paul to take the reins, because another part of what we decided at the outset of doing this Let's Play, of what it means for it to be well played for us, is really minimizing kind of spoilers. Just stabs you in the back, just when you least expect it. Okay, I expected that. And so that includes the fact that Paul isn't, you know, I'm going to hand the controller to him. He's going to kind of show us how it's done a little bit, possibly, maybe not. Results have varied on this particular thing. In relation to what you just said, this is an out-and-out hard fight. Oh yes, and you're going to reverse the y-axis because for you to play this game well, you would play normal. I play reversed. Who knows? It's a strange world. But yeah, that for us, we have kind of some tacit agreements that go beyond the game as written for what it means for us to do a Let's Play well. And one benefit of me having handed you the controllers, I can now expound at length, like the academic that I am, about a kind of important piece to me about this entire thing. So I mentioned that I'm editing this this edition of the journal. This is kind of a first take at doing this. And there's some relevant background here. Drew Davidson, who started the genre of well-played, and I met at a conference, South by Southwest, a couple of years back, and I was telling him that I was, doing this Let's Play with my friend, and that I was going to submit to GLS for it. And I theorized to him at the time this concept, which is what ultimately led to this particular instance of the journal, which is that on some level, I believe that every Let's Play is a kind of a well-played. It is outside of the academy, obviously, but at a layperson's level, so to speak, to use language that could be construed as consulting. It is one or more people's attempt at having a gaming experience and doing it right, getting something worthwhile out of it. Oh man. So I was just talking up Paul's skills here, but I think also serves to highlight the nature of this fight.
Yeah, you can get cornered, and then that might be that.
The game is not fair. It's not, to come back to the Mario call, it's not like a Mario level where once you understand the puzzle, you just unlock it perfectly every time. You just need to kind of execute the skills. The AI have a little bit of variance to them, and they can do kind of quirky, weird things, where sometimes they'll get you in a corner and you're doing basically the exact same thing you did on the previous run. Frankly, to me, that makes it more enjoyable. Sometimes it leads to cursing and a strong desire to hurl a controller across the room, but I believe that that is an experience that most gamers, most who have played extensive amounts of video games, are familiar with.
I would think so, yeah.
And some of us in our younger days have undoubtedly hurled controllers across the room. I haven't any time recently. Doesn't mean I might not again someday. And in the very last episode of this game, I used an epithet in this fight that I don't actually normally like to use in a moment of frustration and passion. So it happens, right? And on some level, again, what is that well-played experience? Well, sometimes it's a very emotional experience and full of frustration and anger. But without that frustration and anger, the moment of triumph isn't the same.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, you were mentioning with the spoilers thing, if I happen to get close to the end of the fight, I will suicide.
Suicide. You will let me live to fight another day.
Yes.
Really, you'll let Johnson live to fight another day.
And Ornstein and Smoke.
And Ornstein and Smoke. Well, technically both of them, but in this case, one in particular. So, our viewers might have noticed that both of us have specifically... Nice, dude. That was very, very nice to do. Have gone after Ornstein, the Dragon Slayer, this dude with the lightning halberd. Conscious weapon. First and principally. Rather than trying to divvy up damage between the two of them or take on Smoke first. That's a strategy that you guided me towards, but it's something I kind of intuited as well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what prior fight in this game led me to the assumption that, or maybe not in this game, maybe in one of the other games, because I've played Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3 and have not finished either of them, so that's 3 From Software games that I'm going to process on at once. I may never finish any of them at the rate that I'm going. That killing one of them would definitely not be the end of the fight, and furthermore, that I knew that killing one of them would trigger Phase 2. Some of these fights even kind of have a Phase 3. I don't think this one explicitly does, but if I remember from watching one of your attempts on Phase 2, late in the fight, the surviving boss does get a little bit more extreme.
Yeah.
And that's actually kind of a... But there you go. So, Ornstein down.
Yep.
Beautiful. And now we will get to see what happens in Phase 2.
Yeah, that really went my way up in the corner there.
It did. You were able
Staggering a
to
couple times.
land a bunch of those
Combusts.
combusts.
Yep.
The spell that I always forget the name of.
Yep.
So beautiful. We can see here that Phase 2 Smoke takes Ornstein's lightning power and now has a powerful lightning hammer. I would say he's otherwise basically the same, except that that's not exactly true either. You managed to save some of your pyromancy.
Yeah.
That's going to help you out a lot here. I think only one time that I've gotten to this fight, I'm fairly certain that I saved none of my pyromancy. So like that. Massive AoE attack that closely resembles his AoE kind of sitting on you attack from Phase 1, but is just singularly more brutal. You're not really letting him land a hit on you. I'm guessing that some of these can in fact one-shot you. That you got mostly out of the way of, but that's still over a third of your health right there. So. Yeah. Yeah. You know, another thing you've done a really good job of in this run-through, which to me constitutes doing a Dark Souls fight well, is using your environment. And in this particular boss fight, using your environment means taking advantage of those pillars, most of which Smoke has destroyed by now,
Right.
but which you can kind of... Nice, you staggered him there. It seemed like you weren't even anticipating that.
No. Wait a sec.
Oh man, just laying into him with that sword. And brief shot of Smoke from the underside. Not really sure what to make of that, but such are video games. You just never know exactly what we're going to be presented with. You might have also noticed a little bit of glitching going on earlier. This also comes into something that I think, you know, Paul, this is kind of part of your standard of what it means to have a well-played Dark Souls experience. That glitching that was going on is frames that are currently obscured by a mod that you have in place.
Yep.
Because frankly, the UI of this game takes up a lot of space in its default state. It's something that they really fixed in Dark Souls 3, where the UI becomes context-based. If you want it to be, you can have everything just disappear into the background. All of something that Drew talked about in the first well-played I saw him talk about, which was Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, a game that did that particular thing extremely well. Pretty close to killing him here.
I know.
Might just be time to.
Yep. Well.
Time to. Yeah, like you could. What? Come on, Smoke. Really? You're not gonna.
It's just.
This is kind of like the time that Ornstein tried to walk out of the room. Actually, he's done that a couple of times. Offer a gesture, bow, a respect. Who is he respecting? Only Johnson actually knows.
All right. Well,
I mean, we could certainly say that was well played. Had this been a run through that we were doing on the side game that you were playing, you would have absolutely taken him down there. That would have been it, the done deal.
yeah. Hand the controller back over to you.
Yeah, and I will of course have to retwick this here. I guess we have a question here. I think that in the context of this particular episode, it might behoove us to show our viewers a little bit of the rest of the world.
Sure.
And to talk just a little bit more about you know, the world of Lordran and you know, the design of this game and what makes it beautiful. I suppose my route should still be the same here, though.
Yeah, going into the.
Because that way I can go out up.
There. Yeah, it basically is kind of an area stacked on itself vertically, and from a lower point in the game, you can see all the way up to the higher part of the city that we're in right now, and it just.
And we'll show you how that happens.
Yeah.
Do I want to take the stained glass exit or the main door?
You may as well take the stained glass.
Okay, cool. It's got a view to it, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I can't remember if you ever have or not.
I think I did once,
You did?
maybe.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I remember you distinctly told me not to, because those doors need to be opened from the inside, don't they?
Yes. Like many a door.
Like so many doors. So yeah, I can just step right out here. And obviously there's no going back up this way.
Right.
And I think I'm obviously supposed to go down. Oh, hello, what's that over there? Shiny. It looks like I'm supposed to go down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks about as safe as anything. Oh, wait, what's this over here? Hello.
Hmm.
Why not?
Hmm.
The only knot is it almost looks like you can't get back out, but I bet I can squeeze through those bars.
Yeah.
Alright, that could have been a worse fall. There's a shiny. Oh!
Oh,
Only one. It only comes with the one arrow.
hard to come by.
Oh! Uh-oh. I just landed on his head, didn't I?
Yep.
So these guys are kind of annoying. I'm going the wrong way, aren't I?
Well, you want that item.
I do. I definitely want that item, shoot. So Titanite Chunk, used for upgrading weapons. Oh, come on, let me get out of here. Drink! I'll get quite a little mob following me here. Nope, I don't. Wait, what's this?
There we go. Speaking of shortcuts, it's funny, you've been here so long and...
I never found that one.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I would have had to go out that door for it.
Yep.
But here we go. So looking back, you can see, I mean, the world is really beautiful. This is a thing about Dark Souls. It's the thing that you and I both kind of critiqued about Bloodborne.
Yeah.
Bloodborne is beautiful in its own way, but it's so limited. Everything's just so dark and macabre, and everything kind of looks the same.
It's not a place I want to be in.
Right.
Even in a virtual sense.
Even in a virtual sense, right? And there was a puzzle here involving this rotating thing, where we were talking about the various shortcuts it takes to unlock to get here. That's a thing of the past now.
This game came out like 8 years ago, too. So...
It still looks gorgeous.
Still, you know, have some mods on, you know, bumping up the resolution and whatnot, but...
Absolutely.
It has a very strong art design and aesthetic. So even when I played it on the Xbox 360, all laggy and slow down and stuff, it was still impressed.
Yeah, no, I mean, I remember seeing it back then and thinking, like, okay, I have no idea what's going on here, but this sure looks like a pretty game.
Yeah.
I don't know, in my own gaming career, I was perhaps just not ready to consider playing a game just so hard. I had a 360 at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, on the other hand, you didn't finish it on that run-through.
Right.
You did, in fact, go hollow, as we say.
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't gotten to the point you've gone hollow yet. You promised you would tell me when that happened.
Yep.
So, I mean, again, just about the sense of scale in this game. Okay, I haven't been up there yet, but,
No.
you know, I'm coming from here, but I can look back down, out over here. And this is actually probably a great place to do it. You know, I can see the cathedral there, but then looking back down off in this direction, is that like the lower city down there?
Mm-hmm.
Cool, and we'll see that in just a moment. My plan here really is actually to run down and then die, because I don't want in our... That'll end us out for today. I don't want in a future playthrough to have to do the legwork to come back up.
Yes.
So I'm not resting at any extra bonfires. I could. I'm not going to.
That makes sense.
Just going to keep on running. And these giant guys here, oddly peaceable if you don't mess with them.
Yeah. They are pretty chill.
They just like to hang out. So, you know, this lovely checkerboard floor. But I've got to say, the first time I got up here, it was stunning in its openness and its brightness. It just has a... And you'll see imminently the different feel from down below.
Mm-hmm. One other element that really contributes to the atmosphere of the game is the lack of music. Like,
right.
Music not always just being there telling you how to feel about where you are.
Oops.
You know, robbing you of subtle sound effects or background noises, you know. And then when the music does start during a boss fight, it is, you know, all the more impressive.
Exactly. I was, if you weren't going to mentioning it, that our viewers undoubtedly noticed that during the boss fight, the music certainly kicks in and becomes quite intense. And, you know, I think partially because we're doing a lot of talk here, which probably contributed to my slightly less successful than potentially successful attempt. You know, that music and the intensity of a fight, especially when you don't know it very well, or you're very close to beating it, but you're low on resources. I mean, my heart will get pounding.
Oh, yeah.
My palms are sweating. And sometimes, especially when I'm doing like Bloodborne or Dark Souls 3 at home, you know, you die in the middle of an attempt that you're feeling like that intensity. You just got to put down the controller and walk away for a minute, you know, like, whew. So, you you know, you just saw me get carried down. You saw Johnson get carried down from on high. From this angle, we can't even see the on high.
Yeah.
By those gargoyle-looking things. Not gargoyles. Do you know what they're called?
I think they're imps.
Oh, imps. Sure, that makes sense. Down here to Sen's Fortress.
Yeah, the top of Sen's Fortress, Sen's Funhouse.
Sen's Funhouse.
It is one of the more like refreshingly sort of video gamey levels in quite a while. In that, you know, back in the day when you had a 2D game, you could have extraordinary levels of abstraction, and it really wouldn't.
Oh yeah, I didn't kill him.
It really wouldn't feel incongruous to the player. Like, oh,
Right.
there's these giant blades and all these traps, and okay.
And I'm not going to show you all of that because I want us to actually get successfully all the way down to Firelink.
Yeah.
But we will give the viewers a peek at that in just a moment here.
But once we got to the more realistic games, like third-person RPGs like this one, you know, it tends to get a little more mundane, a little more rooted in reality. Even if you're fighting skeletons and stuff, you're not going to see these big video gamey traps and stuff. And
Or an elevator that's to like prison,
yeah,
you know, carriages like this. So here you can see these lovely giant swinging blades. They're really a pain in the butt. Along with these snake dudes,
Yes.
who are a different kind of pain in the butt. Oh.
and it still fits within the narrative of the game. You know, this
Bloody hell.
wouldn't be a run unless that happened.
It really wouldn't, would it?
This fortress was specifically built to keep people out of Anne Orlando,
I have the wrong ring on.
which, well,
I was like, why am I running so slowly? So there's a ring I possess that I don't currently have equipped that allows you to run quickly through muck. But you were saying about Anne Orlando.
yeah, I was wrapping up that point there. But basically, it gives them an excuse to be like, this is a trap-laden dungeon. So
What a delightful
That
glitch. Alright, I'm going to take another shot at this because that should not have happened that way. But this is a theme of Dark Souls. That should not have happened that way. Brought to you by Prepare to Suffer with Paul and Mo. But yeah, to my point that like we certainly have criteria about making a Let's Play well played. But there's another meta thing on top of that that I wanted to mention, which is that you know, doing a Let's Play is a performative act and it's a playful act. And I think Calvin would be open to the argument that it is that there's a game in itself of doing this performative kind of act. Certainly, in terms of other theory written about games and play, there are arguments to be made. You know, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole in this particular case, but about what is the magic circle that we've drawn, and wherein do you know, are the special rules that apply to this space that make it different from other spaces. But I would just say that in general, the whole process of doing this together, of doing this Let's Play, oh come on, run, is certainly something playful, and that there's kind of a game to it. That including this idea of drunk souls when we get to drinking, that there's some regulated ways and manners in which alcohol interfaces with the experience of playing the game, and you know, including the part where you call it and you say, you know, we are still actually recording something that somebody might watch. At least we had 7 subscribers at one point.
I think we're up to 13. Yeah.
Oh wow.
We never, you know, this is more or less just for you and I. You know.
Oh, it has been
fun for us to do.
Yeah.
So we don't really promote it. Obviously, we don't advertise it or anything.
Right.
It's just there for anyone who stumbles across it. I don't even know how. I guess I put it on my Facebook years ago or something. But
well, and we did the presentation at GLS. That got us a couple more, and a delightful drink with a colleague who had taken some inspiration from the idea that you could, you know, have meaningful conversation in a Let's Play, which sometimes we do and sometimes we don't.
Yeah. Yeah. And just the barrier to entry is so low as well now. Like, you don't need much. I have a cheap webcam and some free software, and certainly ours is not the finest AV production, but nor are we intending it to be.
No, we're not looking for that, but it's certainly not something that we have in our scope to create, even if we were. neither of us has invested in either the skills or the technology.
Right.
So yes, you don't have the fun little picture-in-picture heads of us in the corner.
You don't want that.
Yeah, you probably really don't want that anyway.
Or
I
maybe
mean,
you do.
it depends on what you like.
Yeah.
To each their own. I always say. I don't usually say that.
Not often.
Nah.
But yeah, it is a fun, because you do, even as we're trying to be genuine, you can't help but fall into a slightly showman-y sort of affect
Absolutely.
these things, and it,
Well, and that brings me to one other thing related that's maybe worth invoking, which is that especially when we first started doing this. Oh, and by the way, this circle here is how you get back up in the first place. And there was a boss fight up here in order to get up there.
Yep.
And the giant who was throwing boulders down into the lower parts of Sen's Fortress that you won't see because I'm gonna shortcut all of that. Oh, come on. And I know that doesn't kill you. I learned that last time. So you're still going to be shooting arrows at me.
made him stronger, actually.
Did it? I don't know. Did he drink an Estus flask?
I mean, it didn't kill him.
Yeah, so in theory. That which does not. Oh, see, there's a lovely view. I'm not going to hang around here for too long lest I be hit by that arrow. We'll have other similar views.
Yeah, but those buildings you see there are places you've been to.
Yeah.
Fond memories of the gargoyles up there.
Indeed. I mean, the gargoyles, absolutely clutch fight, and if I were good at video editing, there's no way that I would not include some gargoyles footage. In our first take at this, which as I said had some problems, we had Paul start a fresh character with the explicit intent of getting to the gargoyles fight. See, I'm kind of worried because I got this guy behind me, so that's like prone to me like screwing it up here, but you know. And this is exactly to your point. This is like really weird and arbitrary giant swinging blades here, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere over here should be a door. We came to a door, and there's some snake dudes who are just waiting for me right here. And there's a trap right here that I'm not going to bother springing. And you know, here we are. So this is really to what we were discussing earlier, like what a starkly different environment from where we were up above, right?
Yeah.
With this area being particularly a little lush and green. I wonder how far these guys have followed me for. Like,
And also the lighting is a lot cooler down here. And
the Onion Knight used to be at that door.
Yeah.
Look it up if you're so inclined. And I believe I go up to get out here. Up to go down?
You're headed to Firelink?
To Firelink, yeah. Because I do think that you know, ending in Firelink or ending with death, it seems to be a fitting way to kind of wrap this. Because ending where, in a sense, the game begins, and to give our viewers, especially who have not seen the game, just a sense of the scale. So I'm just going to run by these guys, who at one point gave me no end of trouble, and then there's a guy up the stairs over here who at one point gave me no end of trouble. To this elevator over here, which no trouble there.
Nope. Just a smooth ride, as many times as you want.
You can jump off at one point if you want to, right?
Yep.
Or is that on the other, going the other direction?
No, either one.
Either one.
Yep.
And that's if I were trying to get back to the, there it is. Right there would be where I'd jump off. If I wanted to get back to the very beginning of the game, right?
The starting location, yeah.
The starting location, the Undead Asylum.
Yep.
So here we are, Firelink Shrine. So I just took, what, 3 shortcuts. 3 fairly major shortcuts that take me back to the very beginning of the game. And what, well, not the very beginning, as noted. To get to the very beginning of the game, you need to kind of do a little dance where you jump off that elevator, and you need to get to a bird. The bird is around here somewhere. Where is that bird? Is it up over there?
You can hear him.
There he is.
Yeah.
So if I jumped off up above there, I could have caught a ride with this bird back to the Undead Asylum, which I do intend to revisit at one point. There's another boss there that is not available, let alone killable early on. I'd like to take a hack at him again at some point.
He's tough.
Yeah, is he?
Yeah.
I'm guessing I'm not even leveled yet. But, you know, you make it out of there, and that is basically the training zone, and you get dropped off right here. And at the time, there's a dude. He's sitting over here. But he's gone now.
Yep. Sadly.
Sadly, he got a little dispirited when I awakened this guy.
Yep.
Is there ever a clear explanation for what it is about? And again, really odd video game conceit. Like, nothing in Dark Souls is like this until you encounter this guy.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, the crestfallen knight who departed complains about the noise and the stench
Oh, the noise and the stench.
of this individual here.
But in the process of departing, he sadly goes hollow.
Yes.
And I feel like maybe, having come all the way down here, there are two things here. One is to give the extra sense of how stacked the place is, to go down even further.
Sure. I was actually going to suggest that.
Excellent, excellent. And speaking of which, there is here a firekeeper. There's a functional purpose for the firekeeper. If I have the right item, I can reinforce my Estus flask.
Forgive me.
I can also talk to her.
I am impure. My tongue never intended for restoration. Please, if you have any heart, leave me be. I wish not to speak.
I like that she says, "I wish not to speak," after all the rest of that.
Yeah.
It's because I was about to start talking, but, you know, she needed to get that point of clarification out first. Pretty grim stuff there.
Yeah. She did not have the ability to speak for most of the game, and then you restored that.
She was killed, kind of, but must be immortal in some sense.
Yeah, that's... I don't think firekeepers are undead. Which explains why she could be killed.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, down there is another area of the game, Blight Town, infamous
Blight Town,
poison swamp.
which I thought I might never get out of, but I did. And then down here is a pot. Is an elevator. Where's the handle? Oh, there it is. So I was just, we just started up in Orlando, and we're gonna drop down just for a moment, just to give you the sense again of depth and how this place is built upon itself to New Londo.
The ruins of it.
The ruins of New Londo.
Yes.
Right. Which really makes you ask some pretty crazy questions. How many times have they built upon places here? This isn't, in fact, the only place that you go down. You know, you mentioned Blight Town, which is below the depths, right? And things are built upon things, and it just gives you a deep sense of a place with a kind of bizarre and deep history. I'm going to go ahead and send this back up just in case. Oh, that's for calling it. I'm going to go ahead and send this back up just for future reference.
For
There we
future
go.
riding.
For future riding, I expect I might come back down here at some point. Although, honestly, I think we're probably at a pretty good level of exploration. I believe I might just die down here.
I say make a run for parts unknown.
Make a run for parts unknown.
Why not?
So, I love how the light gets in here. Whatever it is, however it is that this was built before, and one assumes that some catastrophe happened to sink this place somehow. And we don't exactly know what it is that's built up above, and yet the light gets in. It's just gorgeous. So there's a reason I don't come here. No, there is.
Not just the environment.
Not just
Or
these
the
guys
atmosphere.
who are... Yeah, I know, it is really... I mean, we were talking about Bloodborne. Think about a game that's kind of all this color palette.
Yeah.
and you'll have Bloodborne.
Basically.
That's not quite fair. Oh, hello.
There is the Crestfallen,
Crestfallen Knight. What do you got, Crestfallen Knight? A heater shield? Man, you got something. You got something. Why am I trying to swing a sword at you, Crestfallen Knight? That's the real question here. He's not... Come on. Okay. So, I mean, speaking of Mario, it's something that you said to me fairly early on in this game, where I was being maybe a little too cautious. You said, "You're Mario."
Yep. Never forget.
And in the sense, like, you're the one who's supposed to be bonking the bad guys.
Right.
Well, that wasn't that hard. How many souls did I get?
800?
Okay, not enough to worry about. That's important.
Or 1,000 moves? Yeah.
I can let 1,000 souls go and not feel the loss at this point. Some economies of scale
Swore
thing.
he drops.
You thought you had
to
to drop?
something, but
Maybe
it's
I am just too over-leveled to get whatever he's got to drop. Who knows? Maybe something appears back in Firelink.
yeah.
So no, the Crestfallen Knight. What a sad end to that guy. The Crestfallen Knight is not the reason I don't come down here. It's actually because I can't fight the things down here without a special item, known as a transient curse.
Yeah, you either need to be cursed or have this temporary curse. Otherwise, your
These
blade
ghosts here.
passes right through.
Oh gods.
There's Demons.
No, there's most certainly not. And they have this horrible pulling thing that they do. Come on, and then slitting your throat,
Yep.
and then you fall down? How's a guy supposed to get a drink around here? Obviously by finishing this recording and then pouring some fantastic beer that I brought over this evening. So I've been up here once, maybe. Look at those ghostly torches. Very nice ghostly torches. They really capture the ghostly feel. Ah, more of you! And I know more of them are going to spawn in this room because I've been in this room before. I just don't want to get hedged in on by them on all sides because that spells certain doom. Okay, I have not been here before.
Oh. I like how
Speaking of hedged
you
in on...
can't hurt them, but yet they still can block you. It's a real good
Oh, come on.
situation they've got.
I know, it's the most advantageous possible situation they could have. So, hedged in on all sides.
Yep.
And, I believe that concludes... I was so close to seeing something really new.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know how new. It probably would have been more dark corridors and ghostly torches, but still.
More ghosts.
More ghosts. I think that concludes this particular episode of Prepare to Suffer.
Right.
Thank you for joining us for something a little bit more academic, regular viewers, new viewers. If you want something casual and hilarious and you really want to see me die a whole lot, hey, we will provide a link in the publication to the full channel on YouTube, which we're woefully behind on uploading episodes, but we're going to get there.
Yeah. Got to find a fat pipe somewhere.
Exactly. We're looking for the tubes that are wide,
Yes.
not the tubes that are narrow.
Exactly.
All right, until next time.
All right, Moses. We will see you next time.
We will
on Prepare to
see you
Suffer.
next time.
Bye.